right. Let's go. All right. Power rankings, week 3. Yeah, week 3. Let's just start it off. Number 10, pretty obvious one. It's Griff. Honestly, before Monday night, I thought it was going to be Cole, but things changed on Monday night. Griff put up what did Griff put up? Not a lot. I know that. I don't think Griffin is, or I think he did put up 100 once in the first week, but I mean, it's been some shameful weeks for Griff, and it's not going to get much better. He's playing me this week. So, yeah, number 10 is Griff, down 1 spot from last week. Number 9 is Cole. Cole's up 1 spot from last week. Him and Griff swapped. But Cole ended up having a good week. I mean, I think he put up, 120 points or something like that. Not a bad week out of Cole. He kind of got screwed by Trevor. Trevor just put up 150. So what are you going to do? But, at the end of the day, Cole, you got to win some games. I mean, you're 0-3. Tough start to the year, but we'll see what happens with Cole. I think he can figure it out. Number 8 is Jake, down 1 spot from last week. Jake, it's actually really funny. I was watching the games on Sunday at Jake's house. So after Thursday night, Brock Purdy got Jake 20. Darren Waller got me 3. And after the first half of the 1 o'clock games, I was pretty close to giving up. I thought my team was just going to shit the bed again. But hey, we bounced back. I mean, we lost Mike Williams, but he gave me 21 in the process, so it's fine by me. And, Kenneth Walker is probably the best running back in the NFL, and he's on my team. So, although we're talking about Jake here, not my team. But, so Jake is number 8. I think Jake's team is solid, but, he's got to figure something out because all of a sudden he can't really put up any points. Number 7 is Gavin. Gavin sucks. We've been over this. Now, he almost pulled out a win. If he had one of Puka's weeks from the last 2 weeks, he would have gotten a win against Caleb. Of course, that didn't happen. So, I mean, it's tough. Gavin's 1-2. Has not put up a lot of points. In fact, he has put up the least amount of points of anybody in the league, even less than Griffin. So congratulations to Gavin. You have the least amount of points in the league. Very cool. Now, he did jump up 3 spots because it wasn't an outright awful week, but, Breece Hall sucks. So, Gavin's got some serious holes in his team. You know what? No. All right, we're changing this right now. Number 7 is Jake because he's just better than Gavin. And Gavin is number 8. So I'm going to change that right now because the more I keep talking about this, the more I'm realizing I don't know why Jake is below Gavin when they have the same record and Jake has more points than him. So actually, reverse. That was me reversing. So actually, Gavin is 8 with no change, and Jake is 7, also no change. So they're both in the same spot they were last week. Number 6 is Connor. Connor also in the same spot. So 6, 7, and 8 are all the same as they were last week. Now, Connor is sneaky solid, but also his team has some major flaws. But, I think he's won 2 games in a row now. I believe. He's on a 2-game win streak. Yeah. But I mean, the obvious problem, Josh Jacobs sucks. He's actually horrible. So Connor's running backs are trash. T. Higgins sucks apparently. So Connor's wide receivers are kind of trash. But he does have Travis Kelce. So, but I mean, hey, Connor's winning games. He's finding a way, as he tends to do. So yeah, Connor is number 6. Number 5. This is where things get interesting. Number 5 is Caleb. Caleb, that is dropping down 3 spots, from 2 to 5. And, he won this week. So he's probably wondering, like, what can I do? Why am I dropping? What's this all about? Well, the problem is Caleb had a really good first week. And then he won, or he lost last week, and then he won this week. But both weeks he hasn't put up a very impressive amount of points. His team is kind of trending like this, like down a little bit. I think it's a solid team, but it's trending down nonetheless. Garrett Wilson is trash. I mean, he sucks without Aaron Rodgers. Keenan Allen's solid. I think Caleb's got a lot of guys to play at flex, and I think Algier is not the right guy, but for some reason Caleb played him last week. But so yeah, Caleb is number 5. I think he's doing the right things, but he's got to keep the points up because that's a part of it. Record is one thing, but points for is very important. Number 4 is me. I am up 1 spot from last week. Now, why am I above Caleb? Well, to put it simply, we have an even record and I have more points than him. I mean, if you really want to get down to it, I have, I think, the 3rd most points in the league. 4th most points in the league. No, 3rd most points in the league. Yes, I was right. I've put up like exactly 20 more points than Caleb. But we have an even record, but at the end of the day, we're sort of trending in opposite directions. I started slow, as I tend to do, and then I've picked it up since then. Caleb started hot. He's kind of slowed down a little bit. So that's why I am number 4, up 1 spot from a week before. Number 3 is Dan. Dan coming off a tough loss. Now, if Dan just started anybody pretty much other than Jalen Waddle, he would have beaten Liam. I think. I forget what the final was, but it was pretty close. And so Dan continues to put up a pretty insane amount of points because he put up 120 with 1 less guy than everybody else. But setting your lineup is a part of being a good manager. So, hey, you're going to suffer the consequences of not setting your lineup. You take a loss, drop in the power rankings. So, but also Dan's team has some serious flaws that will get exposed as the season goes on. He's got no running backs. But anyways, number 2 is Trevor. Now, it pains me to put Trevor this high because that was such a fraudulent game yesterday. I mean, he got 40 out of Mostert, which is cool. I mean, now Trevor looks like Mr. Smart Guy, and everybody seems dumb for thinking he made a bad trade. It was a bad trade. All right, let's not fool ourselves. Trevor could have gotten he could have gotten, this is what I was explaining to Trevor. He traded CeeDee Lamb for Mostert and Gabe Davis, which is disgusting. But he could have gotten those 2 guys, but he could have traded, instead of CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuel or Devontae Smith. He could have traded either of those guys, who are both worse than CeeDee Lamb. I mean, Devontae Smith looks pretty good, but let's just say Deebo. Deebo is probably the worst out of all those guys. He could have easily made that trade to Jake with Deebo instead of CeeDee Lamb, and Jake probably still would have taken that deal because really that would actually be like an even trade. But Trevor will learn eventually. I mean, he's sort of following the Smitty path of like kind of dumb luck is helping him out here. Like if you guys remember when Smitty started the year like 9-0, but he had like the least amount of points in the league. It's just luck. So yeah, Trevor's number 2 right now. I guarantee he'll fall. His team's just not built for it long term like mine is. But number 1 is Liam, up 2 spots from last week. Hey, Liam's the only undefeated guy left. Talk about a bounce back from last year. I mean, Liam, from what I remember, was pretty trash last year. And he's starting the year off as the only undefeated team left. And, I mean, he's put up a good amount of points, 5th in the league in points. But, hey, I mean, you can't knock it. The kid's undefeated. You know, he's fighting week in, week out. Now, what's funny is, you know, my team's better than Liam and Trevor and Dan. So everybody ahead of me, I have a better team then. But you guys will start to realize that as time goes on. I do like Liam's team, though. It's pretty solid. I mean, Kyron Williams is not that guy. I think that showed the other night. If he doesn't score a touchdown or 2, then he's trash. But people want to act like he's like an actually really good running back. No, he just gets touchdowns occasionally, except for last night. But yeah, so Liam's solid. Do I think that top 3 will stay? No, I think we'll look back at this, you know, midway through the year and have a big goof about it. It'll be real funny. But for now, those are the power rankings. So yeah, we got some big games this week. I mean, I have a pretty easy one against Griff. No offense, Griff, but I mean, let's be real here. I think Dan versus Caleb, that's a pretty big game. But yeah, guys, those are the power rankings. So I guess we'll listen to the intro song one more time just to kind of set the tone. Yeah. But all right, guys, see you next week.